now, but it's his business.
Okay.
So he
What does
sent
it
me a
say? I
hat.
can't read it.
Oh, it's Connection Concrete or
Okay. Oh,
Concrete
okay. Okay. Yeah,
Concrete
it does
Connect.
say Connection Concrete.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So you advertising for him. He needs to pay for that advertising on LidLine Sports. Giving away free advertising.
Why not? He's my friend. He deserves it.
Yeah, okay, okay. All right. Well, he's your friend. He ain't my friend. All right, man. Over the weekend, Coco Golf just turned 18 in March, made it to her first Grand Slam final, making it to the finals at Roland Garros in the French Open. Unfortunately, she lost in straight sets to Poland's world number one, Iga Swiatek, however you say her name. And I want to give her a shout out to uh, for making it to her first Grand Slam final. I mean, she lost, Pep, but hey, she made it there. And I tell
Yes,
kids all the time, I'd rather be in the championship and lose than to not get there at all. So I feel like this is just learning experience for her, don't you think?
absolutely. 18 years old, please. There's much success ahead, barring injury, of course.
Swiatek has won 25 straight matches, Pep. She's
Man.
the number one in the world, so there's no shame in losing to her. It was interesting. Golf lost two championships in consecutive days. She lost the doubles championship as well.
Hmm.
Her and her partner Jessica Pegula lost 2-6, 6-3, 6-2 to Kiki Mladenovic and Caroline Garcia, who won 6 years ago at the French Open in the doubles. So shout out to Coco Golf for making it to two championships, losing both, but she will be back
Oh, for
and
sure.
she will be making a name for herself. She's got a long ways to go at 18 years of age.
Yeah.
Her highest ranking has been 13. Pep, how much
Yeah.
money you think Coco Golf has made in golf? In tennis thus far.
Man, I have no clue, to be honest. I couldn't even give you a number. I don't know.
18 years old. She has made dun, 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 $3.159.857 million.
Down to the decibel. All right. Boy, that's
Hey, Michael Carter, you noticed that too? Those foreign names are kind of tough sometimes, you know.
yeah.
Actually, Mike, I didn't do my tongue warm ups. Toss that thing.
Yeah.
I didn't do my
Shakespeare.
tongue warm ups before the show, and so you caught me on that one. Good looking out, Michael Carter. But yeah, $3 million, man. Not bad for an 18-year-old, huh?
Heck no, that's awesome.
Yeah. And not only that, I am trying to multitask at the present time as well
Hmm.
because uh, our co-host somehow does not have the link for the show. So I'm trying to get the link and actually
Oh, send it
share it
to him.
with them at the
Yeah.
same time. So I'm
Yeah, I had to
actually,
ask Daniel for it earlier, but I already
yeah,
had it. It was the one he sent on the 23rd, so it's all good.
yeah. So I'm going to find it and send it to him. Uh, all right, Pep. Let's go straight to NFL Pep Talk.
Sure. Bro, does it seem like OTAs have been going on a lot longer than this off season and years past? I mean, it seems like it's been like 2 or 3 weeks. I thought OTAs were 1 week. Am I right? Am I missing
Well, they
something?
just started last week, Pep.
Okay.
The reason why you think that they're going on long, because they're staggered from team to team.
Gotcha.
Everybody doesn't start at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I found out today that Jerry Jeudy uh, got injured for the Denver Broncos. He tweaked his groin, so he's out. So that got me to thinking. I'm like, wow, they're still doing OTAs, but that's good that that now you tell me that it's staggered. Now it all makes sense to me now. But anyway, another week has passed, and another story about Deshaun Watson has come upon us. Now he's up to 24 complaints of sexual misconduct against him. You got two new ones filed this past week. Of course, the latest plaintiff stated that that she massaged him twice, and the first was cut short as Watson took a phone call and abruptly left. And the second time alleges that he exposed himself and then took matters onto himself. And so she, filed a lawsuit on that. Um, Also, the latest lawsuit references Watson's lawyer, Rusty Hardin. He commented on a Houston radio show, Sports Radio 610 in Houston last week, that he stated happy endings are common in massage therapy, and short of paying extra, it is not illegal. Okay, wow. We still haven't had any word on possible suspension from the NFL in their meeting with Watson a couple of weeks ago. But, this Watson story just will not go away. I mean, sheesh. And of course, in conjunction with that, that story not going away, then you have the Baker Mayfield conundrum, because without any conclusion of Watson, you got nothing of conclusion for Baker Mayfield on where he might end up. Of course, rumors abound that over and over I'm hearing every other day that he's coming to Seattle. The Seahawks are going to, make a play for him, but nobody's going to make a play for him until he gets cut, because there's nobody's going to take that large contact. And we've already talked about this ad nauseum past couple of weeks about his contract, so we don't need to get involved in all that. But this it's starting to get a little annoying. With the hey, oh, good to see you, brother. Good, welcome back. But it's getting a little annoying, with this ongoing Deshaun Watson thing, and then of course Baker Mayfield on the coattails of that. Any thoughts on that, G?
Well, nothing's gonna happen until the league rules on Deshaun Watson,
Absolutely.
on whether or not he's going to be suspended and how long his suspension is going to last. Until that happens, nothing's going to happen with Baker Mayfield. There's
Right.
no team that's going to take his $18-19 million contract or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think you were right. 18.
And I feel like the Browns are not trying to trade him right now as an insurance.
Yeah.
In case, let's say Watson gets suspended for the whole year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, or maybe half the year with 8 or 9 games. We know Ben Roethlisberger from your Pittsburgh Steelers. Michael Carter, you like how I'm enunciating now? From your Pittsburgh Steelers was suspended 6 weeks for his sexual misconduct allegations. Neither one of them found guilty criminally.
Right.
But still suspended by the league 6 games. So we got to wait for all that to play out.
Mm-hmm.
And Deshaun Watson with now 24 cases. There was 25 and somebody else, one of them dropped out. I don't know how long all this is going to take. Are they going to bring to trial all 25 cases at once in a venue? Because I would imagine that they happened in different cities across the country. So are they going to have to go into different jurisdictions to try different cases, or is it a national federal civil lawsuit? I don't know that. So we'll have to see how all that plays out.
Yeah, good point.
I think that the Browns, in their irrational exuberance to sign Deshaun Watson, didn't think it all the way through. Like, now they're just caught in between and in betwixt with two quarterbacks, but no quarterback.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that something?
I think another point is also too, I mean, Baker Mayfield asked for a trade. So the question is, will he even be willing to play for Cleveland, even if Deshaun Watson is suspended for 6 to 8 games?
Well, he has 18 million reasons why he has to play, Otis.
All right.
Are you gonna let your pride get in the way and not get your $18 million by sitting out?
We've seen it happen before. I mean, he seems like he's really adamant of getting out of there. So I don't know.
Nobody that adamant to lose $18 million.
We've been seeing players lose money.
A lot of people talk a good game. We'll get to this. We'll get to this later. Pep has it in his notes. There was a dude, I'm not going to mention it, who said he was about to retire. He got some cheddar today. He ain't retiring.
Correct.
I think that if the opportunity arises, I think Baker, should play. If last time I checked, a lot of teams or front offices have a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to Baker Mayfield for even wanting him. So, he should play. So, sounds like he doesn't think the team believes in him. So, I was just asking the question.
Yeah,
it's a valid question.
I have not heard anybody defend Baker Mayfield like I'm about to defend Baker Mayfield. I defended Colin Kaepernick the same way. Colin Kaepernick came off of shoulder surgery, just like Baker Mayfield had. Michael Carter, you're in my head now. It's like he had shoulder surgery. All right. And you're not the same dude as a quarterback with a bad shoulder. I don't care if it's your throwing shoulder or your other shoulder, because this is the motion that you use to throw. It affects both shoulders. Okay. And so once Colin Kaepernick came off of shoulder surgery and he was able to feel comfortable throwing the football, his accuracy improved and his interceptions went down. Okay. I'm confident that Baker Mayfield will be a better quarterback this year than he was last year. Okay. When he played, and I feel like it was his fault because he should not have played on that bad shoulder, but he was trying to prove his toughness as a football player and went out there and played. He should have just not played, said I got a bad shoulder, then everybody would still be enamored with the Baker Mayfield that took the Cleveland Browns out of doldrum, promised to take them to the playoffs, and took them.
Yeah. And, the thing, you made a good point about him playing because, the reason why I think he played is because, preseason, everybody was picking the Browns to be one of the top teams in the league. And without him, they wouldn't be. So he might have felt that he owed it not only to himself, but to them to give it a go. And, and it just didn't work out, so it was the worst case scenario for the Browns.
I felt like he felt like Case Keenum was going to take his job when Keenum came in and he played well.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah. But but come on, I don't see Case Keenum being able to sustain that throughout the whole season. When you're playing the Baltimore.
I'm just saying what Baker might have been thinking.
True. Yeah. But when you start playing playoff teams, then Case Keenum will be who he is. Not that good.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of that. Sources have said that the LA Rams all-world defensive tackle Aaron Donald has gotten his contract reworked. See, now I got Carter in my head too. The 3 remaining years gets him a massive raise through 2024. Now, check this out. How much of a raise do you think he got? I know you guys already know because you saw my notes, but
all I know is he's the first non-quarterback to make over $30 million a year. So his raise was pretty big.
And I know he'll be making the most money if he's not a quarterback.
Yeah. So his current contract, he would have made through 2024. He would have gotten 55 million. Well, he's getting a $40 million raise. Now, check this out. Also, he isn't getting any added years to this. This is all for this particular contract, which ends in 2024. So at the end of 2024, he will have received $95 million. So, he'll make 65 by 2023 and then the full 95 at the end of 2024. So he's good. Like you mentioned already, G, he is the first non-quarterback to eclipse $30 million per year.
So that is a non-guaranteed. That's a non-guaranteed contract, though. If he doesn't produce this year, they could not honor his contract after this year, and he'd only make 65 million.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
well,
kind of relative, but yeah,
that's still a $20 million, a $10 million raise.
Yes. I mean, it's a good contract for the most dominant player on the defensive side of the football in the NFL.
Yeah,
he deserves it.
And the Rams, I give them kudos. They did it, and they didn't even add any years, to like back. Yeah, absolutely. So awesome. And so,
but what I was telling
anyway,
that same dude had been saying for weeks, Pep, that he was going to retire and walk away from them millions.
Yeah, he is $30
million that he was.
He is 31.
All right,
that was definitely him. I would say that's definitely him using his leverage for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Ain't
He's using his leverage and his age. Right. So finally, the Denver Broncos are expected to be purchased for, drum roll, $4.5 billion by Walmart heir Rob Walton, according to
Who was
Forbes
that on
magazine.
drums?
That was me.
Need some work.
and you see why I'm not a musician. I got family that are musicians, but not Pep. Winning bid has not been finalized, but the announcement is probably going to be expected sometime this month, June. Also, reports circulating. I'm sure you guys have seen this. That Russell will ask for 5 years, $250 million on his next negotiated contract. So I guess Mr. Walton better start digging a little deeper in his pockets. Any thoughts on that? Oh,
I mean, those are very deep pockets over there. So I mean, he has the money to pull it out. And I know G's gonna say it, and I agree that I mean Russell Wilson's in his prime, a Super Bowl champion quarterback, still playing at an elite level, and he's very rightfully so earned every dollar that he's asking for coming up. I know a lot of naysayers around the city will now point in every little thing Russ has done over the last couple of years. But yeah, he's very rightfully so. I still believe that he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And the Denver Broncos are now in win now mode as well. So you pay the quarterback and you keep it pushing.
Yeah.
G?
I mean, quarterbacks get paid what the market is, right? So Aaron Rodgers signed for $50 million. So there's no doubt that Russell's going to ask for $50 million. Is that $50 million over 5 years, $250 million?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
My math's correct.
Right. So I see it. He definitely needs to go out and do something this year, because if he doesn't, they're going to scoff at that. And so he has to have a productive year this year. Even if they don't make it to the playoffs, they have to barely miss it for them to sign him to that contract.
Right. Yeah, they can't get blown out of the water in the AFC West.
Yeah, he cannot play bad and be the reason why they don't go to the playoffs. He will not get that contract. But if they go to the playoffs, he's definitely getting 5 years, $250 million, because the Broncos have not been to the playoffs in a long, long time. And they brought him in there for that. And the AFC West is the toughest division of football.
Loaded.
So it's interesting to me, Pep, that
Mhm.
I listen to a lot of sports analysts talk about, "Ooh, I look short. Let me stand up so I can be like sitting in a hole." So I listen to a lot of analysts talk about Russell Wilson, and they predict the Broncos to come in fourth, right?
Yeah.
And so, but they don't realize that in Russell's career, he's been in the toughest division in football, the NFC West.
Yeah.
The landscape now shifts now to the AFC West, where he's still in the
For sure.
toughest league in football. So he knows how to deal with that, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. He excels at competition. And so I really foresee the Broncos making the playoffs. And I think the Chargers missed the playoffs again. And they need to get rid of that crazy coach they got, especially if he's going for it on 4th down and 1 on his own 20-yard line.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be doing that this year.
We'll see.
Yeah, I get you. I hear what you're saying, but I can't believe it, that we would see that from him, because he won't even last the season doing that.
He lost
He
4
can't put
games
up
from
with that.
last year and still kept his job.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah,
That's some privilege right there.
well, he wasn't Jim
I've never
Moore.
seen a
Yeah,
coach
I
lose
get it.
games. I've never seen a coach clearly lose games and keep his job. He did. He lost 4. I saw him. 4.
Right.
So you guys are saying that division will for sure get 3 teams in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Who's the 3?
I'm going with the Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't mean to shut all y'all up. Somebody say something y'all on the radio.
I'm speechless.
I want to see
radio silent.
I would love to see Justin Herbert in the playoffs, but until that they can.
Never been there.
What's that?
He's never been there.
Yeah. And they have a defensive problem that has to be fixed. They cannot play the pass at all. And playing in the
they did get some studs coming in there. So
they did, and so it'll be foreseen to see how those guys play, because they're going to be going up against elite quarterbacks for sure. Russell Westbrook and
at least 6 Sundays, right?
Yeah. So
you know O's on the NBA. He called Russell Wilson Russell Westbrook.
That was you who did
that. It's all right. You know you got the NBA on your mind.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I'm
done.
The
Dolphins, Michael Carter, are not in the AFC West. But their running back room is tight. So they were like at the bottom of the league last year in rushing. I think they only averaged 96 yards per game, Michael Carter. But now they have a good stable of running backs that all used to be first down backs. And so we'll see what they're able to do this year. They've really bolstered their roster. So, yeah, we'll see what they do in the AFC East. Their division is weak, so they should win that division.
Well, Buffalo.
Sure. But the AFC West is the strongest in the AFC North than the AFC East.
Yeah. Well, Buffalo is probably going to win the AFC East, more than likely, G.
Yeah, well, more than likely. But if you look at the stats, Miami has beaten Buffalo. They beat them twice last year.
They did? Okay. All right, kudos to that.
They need to beat other people.
Yeah.
So
no love for New England.
It's very possible that they could win the AFC East. Although, yes, Buffalo is the favorite. And the New York Jets are much improved.
Yeah, but they're still down at the bottom, unfortunately for them.
I agree.
Sorry, Andrew.
No love for New England?
Nope.
No.
Well, New England can't even figure out, Bill Belichick is holding it close to the vest who their coordinators are. He hasn't named an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator. He went and got Joe Judge, the Giants' former head coach, who's supposed to be his new offensive coordinator.
Oh, God.
I don't see how that was an upgrade. So
it's not.
they have
not from what he had.
Yeah, they have a lot of things. They got a lot of moving parts to figure out in New England. And they got Matt Jones?
Matt Jones. Mac
in
Jones.
his second year. Mac Jones in his second year. And so it's generally when you have a decent freshman season as a QB, it's your sophomore year that you either take it up higher or you implode.
Right. Well, because teams have a chance to figure out, that first year.
Absolutely.
And they got film on you.
We'll see what happens with Mac Jones. He kind of fizzled out at the end of the year. Like, he started strong and everybody was calling him the next Tom Brady.
Yeah, and they got destroyed in the playoff game.
They was calling him the next Tom Brady. And then he fizzled out. So we'll see what becomes of him in year 2. But it does not help him a bit that he has a brand new offensive coordinator. And that coordinator's name is Joe Judge. Who ruined, well, I know he didn't help Daniel Jones. Now he's got Mac Jones. He didn't help Daniel Jones in New York for the Giants. And now he's got Mac Jones. So let's see what happens with that.
Yep. Break time.
It is time to go to break, Pep. And I think, you know what? I think we'll take one. Thank you all for listening to LidLine Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio World, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. Holla at us. We love to hear from you. We'll be right back after these messages with Lil O Stevenson, and the NBA. We're talking finals, y'all. Don't go away.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not using my GPS to navigate the land of 1,000 dances, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, you want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. Our program centers in the Rainier Valley and throughout Seattle and King County, offering healthcare, housing, transportation, social, and recreational activities. There are no copays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE specializes in serving those with chronic health conditions, including diabetes, kidney disease, heart disease, and dementia. For over 25 years, this program keeps seniors out of nursing homes, assists family members caring for elderly loved ones, and works to keep the most vulnerable members of our community healthy in their homes. Call 206-320-5325. That's 206-320-5325. Or visit providence.org/elderplace.
Do you want to reach out to the Vietnamese community in Seattle? Just advertise in Người Việt Tây Bắc, that is Northwest Vietnamese News, the longest running Vietnamese language newspaper in our region. Go to nvnorthwest.com.
What is the Delta variant? It's a faster, more efficient version of the original virus that causes COVID-19. It's the same virus, it's just better at infecting people. Delta is far more contagious than its predecessors. It's spreading twice as quickly as the original strain, and people who are infected with it carry around much more virus. Getting vaccinated is the best defense we have against COVID-19, including against the Delta variant. Now check this out. The vaccine is free, safe, and effective. Time to protect yourself is now. Learn more at kingcounty.gov/vaccine.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not driving my sweet AMC Pacer through the car wash, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. You missed a spot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to LidLine Sports. I'm Granville Emerson, along with my co-host Renault, Pepe, and Otis, Lil O Stevenson. We're going to go right to the NBA. We're in the throes of the NBA Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors. The series is tied 1-1. Take it, O.
Yeah, series tied 1-1 so far. I want to say you've seen a little bit of a defensive battle, especially game 2. You've seen the games start to slow down a little bit. Game 1, we saw Golden State get off to a really solid start. You saw Steph Curry get hot in the first quarter, and then they made their infamous third quarter run, and thought that was kind of going to shut the door on Boston Celtics for game 1. But Boston, led by Al Horford with a playoff career of 26 points, they went on a 40-16 fourth quarter run to take game 1. And Al Horford he got in a mode that, he was shooting like Steph Curry, but I don't know if you guys noticed, he wasn't even hesitating at a point. He was just letting it fly. And that dude just could not miss game 1. Jason Tatum didn't get off to a good start, but I think you see the growth in his game was that he had 13 assists, knowing to get other guys involved, move the ball around. And I think a point of emphasis that I do have for Boston is Jason Tatum attacked the basket, which was able to bring the defense in. He was kicking out to wide open players like Al Horford. Game 2, I thought that the Celtics came in with the same momentum, were playing really well in that first quarter, but they allowed Golden State to stay in the game with turnovers. Now, all those lanes of all those guys attacking the basket, I think Golden State adjusted to getting in those lanes now, getting back, and they caused a lot of turnovers and allowed Golden State to keep the game close. And they were up 1 at halftime. And then once again, that infamous third quarter went off, and those guys went off. 20-point third quarter, they won 35-15, and that was all she wrote. After that, the fourth quarter, Boston was down by as much as 20, but I definitely like the pace better in that second game. And we're here now. Boston took home court advantage, so we'll see what they can do in Boston. What have you guys seen so far in these first 2 games?
You're on mute. Lips is moving, no voice is coming out. That was the best.
Put a little out.
Oops. Anyway, quiet as kept. We've all talked about Jason Tatum and having his terrible shooting woes, but Golden State, Klay Thompson has been very ineffective so far in these first 2 games. Now, does that bode bad for Golden State and good for Boston, or the other way around? Because you got to figure, at least you hope that you think that Klay will get it together. He couldn't get it together at home, so maybe he'll get it together on the road. And also his bad shooting seems to have affected his defense, because he hasn't really been there defensively either. He's just been out there, and that's kind of worrisome, because they need production out of him in order to win, to beat Boston. They're not going to be able to beat Boston if Klay Thompson doesn't get it together. And so, it was good to see Jordan Poole play good second game. And then, of course, Kevon Looney has been a very good production for Golden State. So he's really been key as the big man. He's been disruptive. He's been getting key rebounds, and he's been getting buckets, garbage buckets, or, buckets being set up, in the lane, on drives by Steph Curry and the like. So, Golden State's, they're not in bad shape, but I wouldn't say they're in great shape right now. I picked them in 6 because, they're not Miami. Miami had nobody, no O. other than Jimmy Butler. So, if he had a couple of bad games, which he did, then Boston was going to win. And even though he had great games, Jimmy, he couldn't do it all by himself. Well, Golden State has more weapons, so they're not relying on just Steph. But Clay must come to work.
Yeah, it's an interesting series. To me, it's boiled down to two things. Who's making shots? In the Boston win, they shot 50% from the field. Last night in the second game, they shot 37% from the field. The first game, Al Horford, as you alluded to, was ridiculous, shooting 75% from the field, 9 for 12 total, and 6 for 8 from 3. I don't know if that's going to happen again, but it did. And then last night, Boston had 15 live ball turnovers. So live ball turnovers generally lead to baskets. Mm-hmm. Okay. I tell my team all the time, we don't want live ball turnovers. If you're going to turn the ball over, get a 5 count, a 10 count, I don't care, before you just throw the ball away to the other team and they go the other way for a basket. If we get a dead ball turnover, the ball goes over to them, but we can at least set up our defense. Okay? And so 15 live ball turnovers was really the difference in the game last night. And so Boston has to take care of the basketball. They have to take care of the basketball. I think that the difference to me in this series, and I said this when I heard that he was going to play, is one Gary Payton Jr. All right? Gary Payton Jr. played more minutes last night than any player not in Golden State's Big Three. He played even more than Jordan Poole. Okay? It's Gary Payton's defense and his ability to score offensively. He was just 3 for 3, but he was 3 for 3. All right? His ability to play on both sides of the ball gives Golden State another weapon. Another weapon. They're able to defend Jaylen Brown with him. If they need to put what's his name, Mr. Technical, on Draymond Green on Jason Tatum, they can do that and put Looney on Horford. And so they're able to defend them. And last night, it was the Golden State Warriors defense. Everybody had been talking about Boston's defense, but it was the Golden State Warriors defense that shut down the Boston Celtics. Even though Tatum did not have a drastically bad shooting night last night like he did in Game 1 when he was 3 for 17, I think that they still did a good job on him in limiting the number of touches that he got in Game 2. So we'll see what happens in the next game. When's the next game, Otis? Is tomorrow night?
Wednesday.
Wednesday night?
Wednesday night. Wednesday and Friday.
I can actually watch that game.
Yeah. You guys both make really good points, and perfect segue for me to give you guys my points of emphasis for both teams. Starting with Boston, number one, you can't hit it any harder on the nail. Boston Celtics have to limit turnovers, especially against a team like Golden State, who thrives off of getting out transition, finding the open shooter. The Boston Celtics, I think, has to necessarily slow this game down, play a half-court offense, and get good shots, which segues into my second point of emphasis with these guys. I thought these guys played really well on game one, moving the ball, not settling for ISO buckets, which I understand that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are really good in ISO situations. But I think Boston is really good at moving the ball side to side, getting in the paint, uh, and being smart with the ball, making the right reads, which they did not do in game two, and finding guys, finding the Marcus Smarts who had 18 points, finding Al Horford, and guys like that that can help with the scoring load offensively for those guys. Number two, I don't know if you guys saw, or number three, I don't know if you guys saw this on defense. Game one, it seemed like with Boston, there was a lot of miscommunication with how they were guarding off the ball in picks and on the ball. I seen a lot of times when Steph Curry had the ball at the top of the key and he was getting a pick with the bigs like Al Horford or Daniel Tice, they would drop back, allowing Marcus Smart to try to fight through the screen, which we know that is a no-no with Steph Curry, which is a big reason why Steph Curry got good looks in the first quarter. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe there was a miscommunication, but I also saw a lot with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry off the ball with them just not talking about switching, which I think that they should be just switching everything. Uh, I could be getting, I could get some flack for this, but I want Golden State to prove to me that they have elite ISO scorers on the team. I believe Steph Curry is a really good ISO scorer when getting a bucket for him, but when it comes to being an elite ISO scorer, I want to see Steph to prove it to me night in and night out that he can do it. So I don't believe anybody else on the Golden State Warriors can do it night in and night out. I think Andrew Wiggins can get a bucket here, Jordan Poole can, and I don't think Klay Thompson's really an ISO scorer. But I'm okay with switching 1 through 5 with Al Horford on the court. I don't know
if Golden State is playing ISO ball, they're going to lose. That's not their DNA.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if Ime Udoka was doing the drop coverage on purpose with just the bigs only, whatever it is.
They fixed that. They fixed that after the first quarter. That's why they won. Right. And if you remember, they had Marcus Smart mic'd up, and he talked about that. He talked about getting up and not sitting back. And then they fixed that. So I didn't see game two yesterday. So was it?
It was here and there, but not as much though.
Okay, yeah. So they fixed that. But I don't see Golden State going to any ISO ball because that's not their identity, and they'd be foolish to do that. It's like I told my kids yesterday: you don't get to the championship and then change what you did to get there. It's stupid. So I don't see them doing that. Although I think Steph Curry is a very good ISO player if he wanted to be. He does a good job of breaking down the defense, getting in the paint. He scores a lot of layups that people don't give him credit for.
Yeah, he's a good finisher.
He's such a great three-point shooter, but he scores a lot of layups. So he does get in the paint very well, create for his teammates. And so he's a good ISO player, but that's not their game. And if they go to that, they're going to lose. I'll tell you that right now.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Then my last point of emphasis. Oh, go ahead, Pat.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to say that, you mentioned about Marcus Smart fighting through the picks. In game one, we all know it's a feeling out process. You try things to see what works. Marcus Smart's the defensive player of the year. So maybe they thought that maybe he can work up to that, fight through that, and guard Steph one-on-one. But once they found it didn't work, they had to get rid of that. But at least they tried it. And the guy, like I said, the guy's the defensive player of the year, so they had to at least try and see what happened. And I don't blame them for that.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, your last option, I speak about the switching, is you don't want to put Steph Curry on an island with Al Horford, Daniel Tice. That is the last option. You want Marcus Smart to try to get through that. But the Golden State Warriors, with the ball movement that they have, player movement, it's so hard to not switch.
What they can do is switch smalls to smalls and bigs to bigs.
Yes. And that's what Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart have definitely all been switching everything, for sure. So, yeah. And then my last point of emphasis is Jason Tatum has to be a superstar. I know they got away with winning game one, with him not scoring the ball well. But just like you said,
Well, they got two.
Yeah, he had how much he had?
Jaylen Brown, come on now. Jason Tatum's 1, Jaylen Brown's 1A, especially for that team.
Well, they both had bad games.
Yes, they both had bad games.
Jason Brown was like 5 for 17 last night.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're right.
And
I agree with
Jason Tatum was 3 for 17 in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So they both had bad nights.
And you're right. And maybe, there has to be an intertwine between those two of both those guys having to play well. It can't be one and not, because just like you said, G, they got saved in game 1 with Al Horford having 26. That's not going to happen, I don't think, in this series again. So you're right, Pat.
And not to mention Derek White was 4 for 13 last night as well.
Yes.
And
he had a tremendous game 1. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'll add Jaylen Brown in there. They both have to be stars. They have to be stars in these series.
I just think it's going to be who shoots the best, and it's going to go one game after another. And the dynamic of both teams. They both have star players. They both have quote unquote superstar players. Jason Tatum is arriving to the superstar level, and so to me, it's just who has a hot night that night. Any one of those teams can catch fire and open up a 20-point lead.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm waiting for this game where they're both hot. That's going to be a game.
Both
shooting the ball well. That's going to be a heck of a game.
I'm honestly, yes, I do want to see both of them make shots, but I'm honestly, I'm waiting for, I think we saw a taste of it. I do want to see the gritty defensive slow down game too, because these guys are both top 3 defenses.
It can be gritty and slow down defensive game, but they can still be knocking down the shots that are open though. There are always open shots. It's whether you can make them or not.
Definitely. You're right about that for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and you mentioned the defense. Yeah, Boston was number 1, Golden State's number 2. So, and there's not much disparity between 1 and 2, right?
Nope.
So you could say they're both pretty much evenly matched defensively.
Well, they are. Even if you look at the stats from game 1 and game 2, there's not much wiggle room between the two. It all boils down to me on shooting percentage and turnovers.
Mm-hmm. And Golden State, they got turnover issues as well. Because many times you can see
they had 12, but they didn't have as many live ball turnovers.
No, not at all.
And just like I was, and then my point, for Golden State is, I already said they got to push the pace. They got to get on transition. Boston doesn't want to play at that pace with them. I think being physical and acting like you've been here, I think those are both in the same transgressions for me. We saw Draymond Green pretty much punk the Golden State Warriors yesterday. Be really physical. They have 4 guys that have been here before, and they have to play that way at a championship level, night in and night out, for the young guys who have not been there. And then, Pep, to your point, who's going to be that second scorer for the Golden State Warriors? Is it going to be Klay Thompson? Is it going to be Andrew Wiggins? Is it going to be Jordan Poole?
So the Warriors can have a different guy every night. I mean, that's
why I put all 3 of them.
It might be Gary Payton in the next game. You never know, right? Because he's capable of scoring in the 20s, and he's done it before. It could be Otto Porter. They got a lot of dudes. And so
he's been hitting open shots.
The same way with Boston. Have you guys figured out that they're basically the same team?
To an extent,
Golden State, they're basically the same team.
Mm-hmm.
But one's younger than the other and one's more experienced than the other. Boston's 5-out offense is just like Golden State Warriors 5-out offense. They run the same thing. They have the same ball movement, player movement. The same drive and kick to the open shooter. It's the same principles, same philosophy.
I would say they contrast a little differently offensively. Defensively, they are tic-tac, right.
How do they contrast off different?
I will say the difference is that there's a lot of more off-ball player movement, and they're looking for guys to get the open shot, not necessarily on the drive.
Who?
Golden State. They're not necessarily on the drive.
There's a lot of off-ball player movement with Boston as well.
Yes, but I do think that they ISO a little bit more, which is more to their style because they have two elite ISO players. Is what I'm saying.
I don't
I do
see
think
in the playoffs. I've not seen Boston do a lot of ISO.
really. I think Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown doing a lot of
catch the
ISO.
ball in their offense, in the motion of their offense, and go one-on-one. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to sit
I'm not
down
seeing them come down and throw the ball to
again.
one dude and clear a side of the floor. That's ISO.
Yeah. I think they do that more. I'm not saying they don't.
I haven't seen them do that.
We'll have to sit down and watch again because I think Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, I definitely ISO. They made shots though. But yeah, I do think that there's a lot of similarities between those two teams.
Well, I think Boston gets their ISO bringing like Tatum and Jalen Brown when they bring the ball up the floor. That's when they get into their ISO game when they're bringing it up.
I think that when Boston is bad, that's what they do. That's not what Udoka wants them to do.
No, right. And I think that's where there was a lot of friction going in the first half of that season. Yes. I agree with you on that.
Yes, I agree with that. I think that at their best, they're a ball movement, player movement team. At their worst, they're an ISO team where they're trying to get their own shot.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work for them.
Yeah. I agree. Game 3 will be on Wednesday in Boston, and then Friday. You said?
Yep, Friday.
So Friday in Boston and
fourth Friday.
Yeah, and then we'll go back to game.
Yeah, and then that won't be until next Monday.
Next Monday, if necessary. No, game 5 is for sure.
It's going 7.
Yeah, okay. I think so too. I hope so too.
It's going 7.
Some quick NBA news. This one's for you, G. Bucks assistant Darvin Ham was named the 28th head coach of your Los Angeles Lakers. Not like?
Yeah, Pep sent me the press conference today, and I was actually at a time where I could actually watch it. I was
good.
I like what Darvin Ham had to say. I like the fact that I don't know if it's official yet, but I think they've hired Rasheed Wallace.
Yep.
It's not official, but it sounds like it's going to.
Is that official?
It's not official yet, but it sounds like it's going to happen.
But he said, I know he said they were working on it. They were having talks and discussions. And I think
that. Higher.
What'd you say, Pep?
I said, I think that would be a good hire.
Yeah, well, you need a superstar in the locker room, right? That can put dudes in check. And Rasheed Wallace is that type of dude, that he'll give dudes the real and they'll respect him. The problem with the Lakers and Frank Vogel, after Jason Kidd left to become the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, they had nobody to run interference for Vogel. So they just ran over him. And so Jason Kidd was respected. I believe Rasheed Wallace will be respected by the players. And these dudes today there's some different dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to have street cred.
I was about to just say, this is a reason why you have to have black coaches in the locker room, especially ones that played.
You got to have street cred. They don't care nothing about nothing else. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, you're right though. You're right.
And so Rasheed will get respect. I mean, Darvin, he's won a championship.
Yep.
He's a legit coach. A good coach. I like the hire personally. Mm-hmm. And I think that these young dudes bring a different energy to the game. I mean, look at what Willie Green did in New Orleans and what Ime Udoka is doing at Boston, right? There's nothing to say that Darvin Ham can't bring that energy and respect to the Lakers.
Yes.
Which I hope, because to me, it's really bothering me that the freaking Boston Celtics are in the NBA championship and we didn't make the playoffs. So something got to happen.
And some other quick news, Quinn Snyder, head coach of Utah Jazz, He stepped down today in a surprise move. He said he felt like the locker room just needed a new voice after, I think, 8 years. The Utah Jazz. I'm not going to say he's wrong, but I mean, I just couldn't see this as a head coach of you. Not necessarily quitting on your team, but moving on. But I do understand what he's saying, though. I do think they do, but I also just don't think that they're good enough to get any further than what they have. So I don't know. I hope he gets another chance. I think Quinn Snyder's a really good head coach.
Yeah, well, he was there for 8 years, so he's stepping down today. That tells you that there's some issues that even he sees that ain't gonna be solved anytime soon. There's an issue with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, and that's been talked about ad nauseum. They talk about that relationship more than they talk about Kardashian's relationship. I mean, look, we know there's smoke there, so I think if the Lakers were to go after someone, I think Rudy Gobert would be a good player to get, because Rudy Gobert he does not need the ball offensively, right? And plus, he's a great defender, and he can play off AD and LeBron. So, I mean, I'm just putting it out there. But
Who they gonna
the
trade
Utah
for?
Jazz are going to have to make some changes. What they got right now is not going to work. Quinn Snyder's out. We don't know who they're going to pick up, but that thing is about to get blown up.
All right, we are all out of time. Just let me say this. Quinn Snyder was ran out of Utah. Don't get it twisted. they took a lot of responsibilities from him and implemented some other things that Mitchell and Gobert wanted. And he said, no, I ain't with that. I'd rather, resign now and then take my record and try to get another job someplace else. Thank you all for listening and watching LidLine Sports with these two great dudes, Renault Pepe Bean and Lil O Stevenson. I'm Granville Emerson, just kind of keeping them together. We'll see you next week. Same time. We'll holler.
I go to work like a doctor. When I rock the mic, you got to like the way I
Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Are you a small business owner in Seattle who was impacted by COVID-19? The Seattle Office of Economic Development is investing $8 million to connect small businesses to operating capital. The Small Business Capital Access Program will lower the cost of Washington State Small Business Flex Fund loans by paying down 25% of the loan principal. Eligible small businesses can borrow up to $150,000 with a 4% interest rate to cover expenses like payroll, rent, utilities, and supplies.
God is Rainier Avenue Radio .world, your favorite community radio station. We're putting out all kind of inputs for you in your community. So come on and listen to us and tune us in. Get on our Facebook, Instagram, and all, as we're doing it right here for you in your community with Rainier Avenue Radio .world. And God is an inspiration of gospel music. Also, we're doing a lot of different things in your community. We give out free food. We give out a lot of things in the community. We do a lot of shows. We do a lot of things on the sports part, and we want you to come on out and tune us in and come to the community. And we do a lot of things in your community. So make sure you go to our website, Rainier Avenue Radio .world. And also go to the God Is website and look us up and see what we do in your community, something maybe you might like. So come on by and check us out from 11 to 2. Free food giveaway.
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. This program offers healthcare, housing, transportation, and recreational activities. There are no co-pays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep you healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not shouting "Badia" at city council meetings, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.